we've got to talk about learning to trust yourself, because it's genuinely one of the most important steps you will ever take on your journey. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't trust yourself to act on it, you won't go anywhere, okay? So the first step is intuition, learning what that feels like and learning to trust it. If you ask yourself a yes or no question and you feel into your body, into your energy, for me, I feel it most in my heart space because my heart chakra is the most active. So for a yes, it feels light and expansive and like bright almost. And for a no, it feels closed and like your energy is like retreating in on itself, to me at least. I'm curious to know where you feel it, because like I said, mine is just in my heart space because it's the most active. So I don't know how it is for other people, and I'm really curious to know where in your body you feel your intuition and get your answers from. It doesn't have to be a yes or no question either. You can do multiple options and feel into which one has a stronger yes or no, if you have multiple paths that you're deciding between. Another thing about trusting your intuition is there's never too many signs. You're never being delusional, and it's not wishful thinking if you're seeing the signs everywhere. If you're seeing them everywhere, there's a reason for it. The repetition is important. Think about what you're doing when you receive those signs. And also, the signs might not be literal necessarily. Like, they can be, you know, for instance, if you get the message that you'll see a lion, or you ask for a sign and you decide, like, show me a lion. You could visually see a lion. You could see some sort of lion statue. You could hear somebody talking about lions. You could have a thought pop up into your head that leads you to lions. All of these things count as signs. Also, things that are related but not exactly the same. Like if you go with the lion example and you see or feel an emphasis on Leo energy, Leo is represented by the lion, and that counts too, because everything is a frequency and we describe it in similar ways with similar frequencies, but it's the same thing. That's just the energy that you're looking for. The placeholder can look different or tangentially related. So when you ask your intuition and you feel into that energy and you feel if it resonates or not, then you want to take that as the final answer. Like, you don't go looking for validation from somebody else or spend so much time looking for another video that confirms what you're feeling. No, you feel into that and that's your final answer. And I've been practicing that a lot myself lately. And you can build this up by listening to your intuition on little things first. Like if you have any small decisions to make, like, oh, do I want to have this food or that food for breakfast, right? Like you just ask your intuition and you listen to that answer. And then the more you do that and see how things turn out from you doing that, the bigger questions you can just trust without any second guessing. But it's important because your intuition is the part of you that has all the answers. Your intuition is the part of you that knows everything. It knows what happens when you're going to take this path or that path, and it knows what is aligned for your highest good. So you ask and you take it as the final answer. And then your mind might step in. Your ego might try to pop in and be like, hey, this doesn't feel safe. This isn't in our comfort zone. This isn't familiar, but we've always done things this way. And that's normal. It's normal for the ego to pop up and try to keep you in the space that's comfortable and familiar, because we've perceived familiarity as safety, even if what's familiar to you isn't actually safe. So when it comes to trusting yourself, it's not trusting every single thing that you feel, it's about trusting the right voice. Are you going to trust the voice that knows what's aligned, or are you going to trust the voice that wants to keep you comfortable? Trusting your body is also very important. My cat's looking out the window. Trusting your body is also incredibly important because misaligned energy or stagnant energy will often present as sickness or ailments in the body. And if you're sick or not feeling well, you're going to have less energy to do things, and you want to listen to that, because rest is important, and you can't get where you're trying to go without resting. Like, you need to replenish yourself. You need to have the fuel to keep going. This one can be tricky to learn, especially in at least the culture that I live in, being so against rest and, you know, like hustle culture and everything. But I had to learn a very difficult way when to listen to my body's limits and what those were, because I was actually born with a heart condition that could have killed me hundreds of times, and it was resolved when I was 7. But then 2020 came around. We all know what started in 2020, right? And I got very, very sick. And I thought I had recovered, and I tried to go back to normal once restrictions were lifted, of course. And I just couldn't keep up with it anymore. I would go hang out with people and come back and be, or even have to leave early sometimes and be absolutely exhausted, physically, mentally, everything. And if you've ever been chronically ill, then you know that you have to find your baseline. So my baseline had been drastically decreased, and I didn't realize for a long time until I stopped pushing. Because the other thing is, if you keep pushing past your baseline, you will eventually make your baseline lower, because it hurts you. So you need to learn to rest. You need to listen to your body and rest. And often if you don't learn this before you get sick, it can make you sick. Thank you, Car, for the emphasis. So learn to listen to your body and rest when you need rest. Because when you do take rest, when your body's asking for it, you're not only not harming yourself, but you can also come back at it with more energy. You can also come back to what you were trying to do with more energy and a renewed perspective. Like, you might see solutions that you hadn't seen before because you were too damn tired. Like, for me, I've been trying to film this for, this is the 5th day. It's Friday now. I've been trying to film this since Monday. But every time I start getting stuff ready, getting in the mental state, I just have no more energy left. So I've listened, and I've done other things, and just let myself rest when I needed to. And here I am filming it today with more depth in what I was trying to say, and I've had an extra 5 days to practice what I'm teaching here as well. So on that note, it's incredibly important to learn to trust your timing as well. Your reality and what you see is a reflection of your internal state, or more specifically, the internal state that you were, because it takes time for things to shift and materialize in the material plane. So if something isn't coming in, there's something in your energy that needs to shift before what's around you can shift. So instead of fighting the timing and trying to push through and make it happen and maybe hurting yourself and your process along the way, you can sit in the stillness of nothing happening and wonder, is there something that I am meant to learn from what's around me before it can change? Because things, situations, people are put into our lives to improve us and teach us. So if things aren't changing the way you want them to, you can always take a little peek inward and see, maybe am I afraid of receiving? Maybe I'm not taking the actual action that I need to do for this thing to come in. Maybe any number of things. Things happen for a reason. Coincidences don't exist. So if things haven't changed in the way that you feel that they should, maybe there's something that you can change internally. Or if you're doing everything right, not that there's a wrong way to do things really, but if you're doing everything aligned with your path and things still haven't shifted, then just trust. Because that might be your lesson at the time, is to just trust and have faith that things will happen even if it looks like nothing is happening. I ran out of space again and the light's going away. Ugh. So also when you're learning to trust your timing, you might get tested per se by external forces, you know, people in your life being like, so when is this thing gonna happen? You know, if you've talked about it with anyone, like, when is this gonna come in? Which, that's something that's been emphasized for me lately, is be careful who you do share these things with. Because not everyone is coming with you, with where you're going. And this isn't, I'm not saying abandon everyone in your life, please use discernment. But if there are people that are not supporting you, you may be in the process of letting them go. But anyway, oh, big yawn. You may have people being like, so when's this thing coming in? When are you gonna do this? When are you gonna go back to doing normal people things, you know? Like, just ignore them, honestly. Like, give whatever answer you want, but don't let it get to you. Don't let it change your sense of timing, because, you know, we need to learn that things will happen in their own time and when you're ready for them to happen. And other people have to learn that in their own time. Today is 10/10 when I'm filming this, the 10/10 portal. We're 4 days out from the Aries supermoon, so that was really intense energy. And leading up to it, I needed to sleep for like 12 hours a night. It was really intense. Also, excuse me, I was away for much longer than I wanted because I just moved and that took it out of me. But I have to move again at the end of the month, and I'm trying to learn to be excited and not scared about that. So that's interesting. The Aries supermoon, the energies were really intense. It was very much wrapping up, closing up a bunch of cycles. And today on the 10/10 portal is finally finishing out all of those, you know, 10 is completion. It's also the first day of my period, so it really feels, you know, closing out the cycle. Feels fitting. We're in October, season of the witch. I feel good. So, yeah, I'm curious to know, where do you feel your intuition? How have you been handling the full moon energies and the portals and all of this integration that we're going through? I've definitely been having a lot of physical change and upgrades. So I'm curious, how's it been affecting you? I want to hear from you. I love you so, so much. I hope you have a wonderful day, night, whenever you're watching this. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.